Welcome to the Fintech Combine. I am your host, Kris Kovacs, the founder and CEO of Constellation Digital Partners, and this is the series where we talk with and sometimes about community-based institutions, the business transformation and technologies they're implementing, and the fintechs that they are working with. On this episode, we speak with Seth Brickman, the CEO of QCash Financial, about their small dollar lending platform and the services they're bringing to credit unions and credit union members across the country. So if you're ready, let's suit up and get out on the field. Seth, thank you very much for joining us today. I am super excited to have you with us. Why don't you start by telling our viewers a little bit about who QCash is and how you guys came to be?
Sure. So all the way back in 2005, Washington State Employees Credit Union, a teller there, went to the CEO and said she noticed that there were a lot of non-credit union members coming into the branch and cashing credit union member checks, and she thought it was odd. The CEO looked into it. It was Kevin Foster Ketty, a very innovative, forward-thinking CEO, and realized that it was local predatory lenders coming in and cashing loan payments from his members. And he was just taken aback that his members would go outside of the credit union to get the financial help they need to deal with whatever they were dealing with. And so he went to his team and said, we are better than this. We need to be able to help our members. And they created a product called QCash. And at that time, QCash was completely manual, but it was a small dollar loan program that they were able to offer in branch to their members to get them out of predatory lending. Well, fast forward from 2005 to 2015, they were doing thousands of loans a month. They automated the process so that members could get it from anywhere on any device at any time. And then in 2015, they were like, this is too good to not share. They formed a QSO and moved QCash out as a product from WSCCU and into a QSO where it could help all credit unions. From 2015 to 2021, the company continued to grow, but grow on a very slow basis because they were focusing more on the technology aspect and the payday lending aspect. March of 2021, I took over the company and realized that what we were saying wasn't resonating. And that the reality was members needed our product. We just couldn't share the message well. So we overhauled all of our messaging. And between March of 2021 and March of 2023, we grew 400%. Wow. Fast forward to today, and we're almost at 500 and something percent growth. And so what QCash does is we are a QSO. We only service credit unions. And we help credit union members go to their credit union's mobile app or website. They're not going to a third party. We're invisible. We're white labeled. All the credit union member knows is I went to my credit union and they had a product where I was able to go from I need help to real money in my account in under 60 seconds without using credit score to underwrite. We have a patented relational underwriting algorithm that allows credit unions to approve those they're currently declining and to lend deeper, or what we call driving financial inclusion.
That's amazing. How did you get involved? You said you took over in 2021. How did you get involved with QCash?
Yeah, so I wasn't really looking to leave my current role, and an executive recruiter had reached out to me. Washington State Employees Credit Union took on an executive search firm to find their next CEO. And this gentleman calls me and he goes, hey, I've got this really cool opportunity. I heard about you. I want to talk to you about it. And I said, no, thank you. I'm really not interested. And he said, well, would you just listen to me? And I'm one of those guys. I'm not going to be rude. So I'm like, of course I'll listen to you. And so he starts sharing about this company that's making a difference in people's lives. And it's taking them out of predatory lending and bringing them back into the safety of the credit union, taking them out of that spiral of financial destruction that payday lenders put you in, and bring you back into a place where you can safely get the help you need and break that cycle. And what he didn't realize is every single word he said just resonated with who I am as a person. So, I built an orphanage in Mexico. I built Habitat for Humanity in the Navajo Nation. I believe I'm here for something bigger than myself. And so by the time he was done, I was like, his name's Corey. I go, Corey, I just need you to know I hate you and I love you. I'm like, I didn't want to hear your pitch, and now that's all I can think about. And so I said, look, I've got some thinking to do. Let me give me a day or two. And I went inside, told the wife, I'm like, you have to sit down. She's like, what? I'm like, well, I just got pitched a job that's less money, more risk. The company might not be in business in 6 months, but I can't not do it because I believe in the product and I think we can make a difference in people's lives. And so fast forward to the end of 2023, we have done over 1 million loans, or what we say internally at QCash, we have helped over 1 million families stay out of predatory lending and in the safety of the credit union. And every month, for example, November and December, we helped over 25,000 families stay out of predatory lending and in the safety of the credit union. And because our loans are fully automated, we write the loan to the core, we write the GL entry, the auto payment schedule, and we physically transfer money from the credit union to the member. Credit union owns the loan and services the loan. But because these loans are written to the core, they get reported to the bureaus just like all their other loans. And so we have this incredible product that actually helps members build good credit by using it. So it's not like a payday lender where nobody ever knows except your pocketbook because you're paying $90 billion in fees per year. It makes a difference. And we hear these stories about people being able to qualify for programs to be the first in their entire family to ever be a homeowner. And we know homeownership breaks the cycle of poverty. Those are the kind of stories we hear every day, and that's why we do what we do.
That's amazing. What is the typical loan amount for someone who's using QCash through their credit union?
Yeah, so surprisingly, it's only about $1,200 and typically has an 8-month payback period. So unlike predatory lenders where you have to repay the full balance in 90 days, we are an installment loan. And we give you the right time period. And because our platform is a technology platform, credit unions have the ability to determine loan amounts, interest rates, payback periods. We're not a black box. We don't tell the credit union what to do. They're the ones who set the parameters for their program.
Do you have any measurements or statistics around people who reuse the service, who come back again after they've paid back their first loan?
We do. And we actually don't have as high of a reuse rate as most people would think. So typically what happens when you look at, we hear this statistic thrown out everywhere. 40% of Americans would struggle to handle an unexpected $400 expense. Right. We've heard our vice president say it on TV, right? And so what's the reality of that statement? The reality is it's not a matter of if you're going to have that unexpected $400 expense, it's when. And when that happens, where are you going to turn? And we want people to turn back to credit unions. But when that happens, it's not like that happens every week, right? It happens hopefully not very often, and you turn and you get the help you need. Now, look, at the end of the day, when you look at predatory lending, over 50% of predatory lending goes to people who have what we call more month than money. Meaning they get to the end of the month, they can't put groceries on the table, can't pay their electric bill, can't pay their rent. Those people are reusing the product. The biggest difference here, though, is when they reuse the product, they pay off the loan, they build their credit score. And so we're one of these odd products where we actually want you off of our product into traditional lending at a credit union. Because, look, at the end of the day, because of our relational underwriting, our interest rates are a little bit higher than the average loan. So we want you back where you can get traditional lending and the traditional help. And so, we do have some reuse, but a lot of it is actually first-time use. And just to give you a great example, the biggest issue with people and their credit union is they don't think their credit union has a product for them. If you don't have a qualifying credit score, we've got nothing for you. And that actually is what a lot of credit unions have, right? It's, well, you're not 640 or 650 or 740, whatever it is. Don't come to us because we can't help you. And so once they get our product and they realize that they can safely and responsibly lend, the next big hurdle is creating awareness. We need your members to know you now offer something to help them. We had a credit union in the Midwest, a larger credit union, They went live with our product, sent one email to their membership. For 2 straight weeks, they did 500 loans a day. And in their first 2 months, they did $90 million in small dollar loans.
Holy cow.
And all of those loans were going outside of that credit union.
Wow.
That's the impact you can have in your community. Now, that is a large example. Obviously, not every credit union is going to have those results, but that's the reality of one Midwest city.
How have you seen? So one of the interesting things about your story to me is you talk a little bit about how you had the credit union itself had this really successful product internally for their members, right? And then they took that step of saying, well, maybe this is something we want to share with the industry, right? But a little bit of a misstep around kind of communication. Tell me a little bit about you coming in as a new CEO and the process you went through to look at that messaging and to really zero in on like, that's the thing that's holding us back.
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason I took over the role was because I believed in the product and I knew the product should be successful. I couldn't understand why it wasn't successful. And so the first thing I did when I took over QCash was I went on what I call a listening tour. And so I actually spoke to the CEOs and the C-suites of the credit unions that had our product. And then through my client success team, I got stories of credit union members who were using our product. And when I listened to both of those things, I heard the exact same message, right? What I heard from a credit union executive was, and again, when I took over the company, our message was, we are a responsible alternative to payday lending. What the credit union executive heard was, I'm a payday lender. I don't want to be a payday lender. I don't want your product, right? What I heard from credit union members was, I am experiencing events in my life, what I call a life event. My car broke down, my refrigerator broke down, vet bills, medical bills, more month than money. All of these things are events that are happening in my life where I need financial help, and I've got nowhere to turn other than predatory lending, except that my credit union brought on this product and they got me through this life event. And so as I listened to it, it sounds so simple that it's sad, but it's true that it worked. I changed our product to life event loans. So instead of responsible alternative to payday loans, we became the life event loan company. And I pitched to credit union executives, your members are having life events where they need help. And we banned the word payday lender in QCash. That became like a curse word where if you used it, you had to put $1 in the jar. And we took on predatory lending. And by just making those small tweaks that credit union leaders, your members are dealing with life events. And you know that because you deal with life events. How are your members responding to those life events and what are you doing to fulfill people helping people that you can help them during that event? And for members, they're like, oh, life event loans. I'm having a life event. Let me get the help I need from my credit union. And so even though it sounds really simple and even though it's a small tweak, we went 500% growth.
Sometimes the simple is the hardest to come up with, right?
Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, I want to just state this out loud, state this out loud. You made essentially a change to how you describe the product. You didn't make any change to the product itself, how it's underwritten, how it's delivered, any of that. It was just around how you described it to potential customers, and that made all the difference in the world.
That's correct. Now, over time, after my first 7 or 8 months, I realized we need to be more than a single product company, right?
Okay.
And so at implementation, credit unions would bring on one QCash loan. Well, what I learned also from listening to credit unions was that credit unions are really good at calendar-based loans, summer vacation loans, winter holiday loans. But again, if you don't have a qualifying credit score, please don't apply. And so we created, or I helped the team, and we created what we call a specialty loan. And a specialty loan is now a second QCash loan that we build into your core at implementation, and they repurpose it throughout the year. So in the summer, it's a vacation loan. Fall, it's a back-to-school loan. Winter, it's a holiday loan. We've done Black Friday loans. We've done Amazon Prime Day loans, tax day loans. But it's a way for a credit union to offer a loan to a member that's not during a life event, but during a calendar-based time where they already know their other members need that extra help during that time. Why not have a safe and responsible product so you can help more members? And And then what I realized was we were seeing a lot of natural disasters and events happening in the United States, right? Whether it's hurricanes or tornadoes or fires. And credit unions had nothing to help their members in the time of need. And I thought to myself, QCash, linked to funds in under 60 seconds, how can we make a difference in this world? And we launched our financial first responder loan with the idea that credit unions can and should be the financial first responders to their members. And so that loan is a loan that we build out in the core implementation, but it's not live. But as soon as there's an event in the community that the credit union serves, in minutes, they can go live with the relief loan. So when Hurricane Ian hit Florida, while it was hitting the island, my Florida credit unions went live with hurricane relief loans. We've seen it in Arkansas with tornadoes. We saw it in Oregon with wildfires. And whether it's even when we had when there was the scare of the government shutdown just a couple months ago, I had several credit unions teed up with furlough loans ready for their members in case the government shut down. But imagine the credit union having the ability to go from, holy smokes, there's something going on here, to I can provide help in minutes versus normal it would be weeks for them to set up a new loan. They really can be the financial first responder. So we did make a big difference just by changing our marketing message, but then what also attributed to our growth is those additional products. Still, we're using the same platform, just another way to look at it.
So many credit unions and leaders, and this happens in community banks as well. There's so many institutional leaders who get tied up in the regulation, right? Oh, I can't do this because of the regulations. Like payday lending, which is not what you're doing. Yes, sir. Right. But that short-term loan business is fraught with regulation, right? There are jurisdictions like North Carolina where it's prohibited, right? How do you navigate this this kind of mix of regulations in order to ensure that you're bringing the product forward for your credit unions and their members?
Yeah, that's a great question, Kris. And one of the unique things about us, because we're a QSO and we embed in credit unions, when credit unions get audited by the NCUA, we're one of the products they look at. In fact, our owners just had our NCUA audit, and we were part of that audit. And then just a week and a half ago, one of our credit unions was doing an NCUA audit, and the NCUA auditor asked me to do a demo of our product for the NCUA team. So we love that. And we work very closely with Chairman Harper and Kyle Hoffman. We did work with Rodney Hood. We're looking forward to working with the new NCUA member. And so, when it comes to regulations, there's a couple key regulations that we have to worry about. Number one is the PAL program. That is a government program for federal credit unions that really dictate the way a small dollar loan program has to work at a federal credit union. And then the other one is the Military Lending Act, right, which protects, as a veteran, super important to me, but it protects our people in uniform to make sure that they're not being taken advantage of.
Right.
And so, we look at all of those regulations. Our platform is in full compliance with them. Again, we go through the audits. In fact, just to give you an idea of how far we take it, 2 new regulations that haven't even come into effect yet. One is with ESIF money, where you have to capture race. And the other one is the new CDFI guidelines, where you have to be able to show or prove that the member can repay the loan. We're already in compliance with both of those, even though they're not in effect yet. And so, we are constantly looking at the regulations. And, at the end of the day, what helps us over a predatory lender is we're not charging 648% interest. We're not getting $90 billion in fees. And in fact, the credit union, if they charge an application fee, they get the money. If they charge an origination fee, they get the money. We're not getting that money. Mm-hmm. And so it's really going back into the ecosystem to provide help for the members. And so, I'd say that that's kind of the biggest thing. We do have our own regulatory and compliance attorney that we work with. But I will state, we are not the regulatory and compliance police for our credit unions. We will share with them what we have learned and what we believe to be best practices. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, they've got full teams that are responsible for their compliance. But we look at it all the time. And the way we have instituted our program and we make sure that it's member friendly and it's not taking advantage. That's kind of the key to beating or getting around the regulations.
Yeah, I think too many institution leaders get trapped in the fear of regulation. And I think instead, one of Jack Welch's things was always understand the rules and play right up into the edge of them, right? You know what I mean? And that's what gives you the ability to be successful, to be innovative, to create new things. A little bit like kind of the Wildcat offense in football. Somebody figured out, right, that, sorry about your Titans, but somebody figured out that you could play football in an entirely different way, but within the existing rules. And I think that's what excites me about innovation, is when I see people who aren't intimidated by regulation, but instead set out to understand it and really drive something forward for the credit union membership, which is the ultimate goal, right? Provide the service to them. Absolutely.
And I think the key to success there, Kris, is using technology properly, right? One of the things that we heard from a lot of our federal credit unions was it's too expensive for us to manually process these loans. And so we're like, and there's also additional work that they have to put in their call report if they're doing these PAL loans. Mm-hmm. And so we asked them, well, what is it costing you to process a loan? And it averaged between $120 and $170 internal costs when you look at every hand that has to touch it, loan officers, underwriters, people in the back office. There's a lot of people that have to touch loans. And so, yeah, if you're doing a $1,000 loan or an $1,100-$1,200 loan and it's costing you $150 to do it, you're probably not going to make a lot of money on that loan, or you're going to lose money on that loan.
Right.
By using technology to automate all of that, right? QCash loans require no interaction from credit union personnel. And the way our fee structures are set up, we actually remove 90% of the cost. And so from that perspective, all of a sudden, credit unions can not only create this incredible service for their members, but do it profitably.
Right. Right. That's great. What's the customer, or in this case, the member experience like? Are they accessing this through a site on the credit union's marketing website? Are they doing it through online banking? How does the member access the service? What does it feel like to them?
So if I'm a credit union member, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my credit union's mobile app or website. Mm-hmm. On that mobile app or website, in their personal loan section, is going to be a loan that the credit union's going to name. So the one thing we ask our credit unions is please don't name it QCash. I have like 9 credit unions that call it QCash, and we're the company. And so it's just super confusing. But we also tell them be on brand, right? So Seattle Credit Union has Lightning Loan. And we've got Fast Cash, Quick Cash. One of our credit unions has Frank's Cash. Right. And so it's just really cool names, and we want them to be on board with it. And in that loan link, the description of the loan will say what we call the code words, no credit check or no credit score required. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's code for people who don't have qualifying credit scores to say, hey, maybe this is for me. So all they're going to do is go to their mobile banking or their credit union's website. Once they click that link, they're going to have to log on through their digital banking, the SSO, right? And once they've logged on through that SSO, we have authenticated the member. And then at that point, our screens show up as iframes in the credit union's experience. And our screens are fully customized to look exactly like the credit union. So to the member just knows, I went to my credit union and they helped me. They have no idea there's a QCash happening in the background. And because we've authenticated the member and we know the member, we don't fool around with all of this stuff that it seems like a lot of LOSs fool around with. Well, what's your name? What's your address? What's your credit, or what's your mother's maiden name? What's your social security number? The credit union already knows that. They did a KYC on you when you joined, right? And I'm deeply integrated to the core where I can see all of that. So instead of me having to get you to fill out an application, you're clicking the link saying, I need help. We're going to underwrite you. You're going to agree to let us underwrite you. We're going to hit the core. We're going to underwrite you. And then we're going to tell you how much of a loan you qualify for. And then we're going to fund the loan. So you literally go from I need help to real money help in your account in under 60 seconds. And it's designed for you to do on the side of the road at 11 o'clock at night in the middle of a rainstorm because you have a flat tire.
Is this a member acquisition tool strategy? Or
So,
do most of your credit unions limit it just to folks who have been members for some period of time?
yeah, so the way our underwriting works, you have to have been a member of the credit union. So it's not something today that they can offer to non-members. Now, there's two caveats to that. One is we're building a product for non-members so that they can do acquisition.
Of course.
Of course, right? But the other thing, and to me it's the most exciting thing, we have gone through a year of liquidity issues with our credit union partners. And that's actually one of the things we hear from our credit unions is, oh, we love your product, we want to do it, we're loaned out. Well, number one, our loans are small, $1,200 loans. They are not going to make a difference in your loan books. But more importantly, and this is where it becomes interesting, Kris, is because these people have to be members of your credit union, and they have to have a deposit history at your credit union, if you make people aware you have this kind of loan that can help them in a time of need, Pew Research actually found that over 85% of people would switch financial institutions if they knew that that FI had a loan that they would most likely get approved for. And so all of a sudden, I realized, again, talk about messaging, right? Mm-hmm. The reality of our product is if you message it to your community versus just your members, it becomes an acquisition tool on its own, and it brings deposits into your credit union. Be a differentiator. Show you care about people, and they're going to come. Field the dreams, right?
Seth, give that number one more time. What percentage of consumers would be willing to switch if they knew they could get a loan?
It was over 80%.
80%. Credit unions, I hope you're listening, right? That's a really big opportunity to address that. That's awesome. Seth, what advice would you give to a fintech founder who is interested in working with a credit union?
So I think first and foremost is you need to have a passion for the credit union industry and their mission. You have to care more about people than profits, and you have to show the credit unions that you're invested in making them successful and helping them fulfill that mission of people helping people. That's number one. Mm-hmm. If you don't have that, I would argue this is going to be the toughest industry for you to break into because they can sniff it out and they know, right? Number two, you have to have a product that actually works, right? Don't go in selling vaporware. Credit unions aren't interested, right? Credit unions are slow to adopt new technology. I like to, when you think about Bitcoin, right? I mean, I've been going to credit union conferences for 3 years. And for the first 2 years, all I heard about was, you guys need Bitcoin. You're missing the boat. You're going to fail. Banks are going to eat your lunch. And then there was the big Bitcoin crash and credit unions were seeing, see, we told you. And so they're just a little bit slow in adopting new technology. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but you just have to understand that. And so that's the other thing that I tell some of these fintech founders. You're not going to walk into a credit union and 2 weeks later have a signed contract. Mm-hmm. In fact, one of the unique things I learned coming to QCash is on average, our sale cycle is 9 months.
Wow.
So that means you need to have a robust front end so that your back end starts producing. So every time I bring on a new salesperson, I tell them for the first 6 months, you're not going to have a sale. So I'm going to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Because you need to build your pipeline. And then you'll start seeing sales come out the other side. But
that's almost as long as online banking.
Yeah. So we've had our shortest sales cycle, which was about 3 weeks. And then right now I hold the record for our longest sales cycle, sadly enough, 2.5 years.
Wow. Holy cow.
But they closed.
And that's what's important, my friend.
That's right.
So let me flip it around. What advice do you give to credit unions who are considering working with fintechs, right? Because we should all be self-aware, right, as to what challenges we represent and what we're bringing. What do credit unions need to know about working with fintechs?
Yeah, so I would say, number one, verify the technology works and don't be scared of new technology, right? One of the unique things about QCash is we bring this ability for credit unions to give loans from anywhere at any time on any device. And in fact, credit unions can actually do their own pre-approval process for loans, soft pulls or whatever they want to do upload those into my platform, and I can digitally fulfill them 24/7. Require no interaction from credit union personnel. So, look for technologies that are going to make your member experience better. And when you see them, vet them, right? So don't just go, oh, you know what? I've been burned by other technologies that didn't work, because that's happened a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't let that stop you from looking at new technologies that are going to create a great experience. I would say, look at what your peers are doing. One thing we know within the credit union industry is C-suite talks to each other, right? Mm-hmm. Find out what products your other credit unions are using. And then I think one of the other unique ones is, what you're starting to see in the credit union industry is this growth of a venture view or an accelerator type view of new technology. So whether it's True Stage Ventures or Circle or Reseda Group, right? You're seeing within the credit union industry saying, we need to embrace technology and help it to infiltrate into our credit unions. And so go to those trusted resources, right? All of them are strong, and see what they're doing, right? Whether you're talking to Nick Evans or Brian at True Stage or Ben at Reseda, like, go to these people and say, who are you using? What are you doing? Why are you investing in that company? What do you see that I don't? Mm-hmm. And trust me, they're going to share it with you, right? Mm-hmm. And so, use some of those trusted resources.
That's good. That's good. If somebody's interested in learning more about QCash and certainly signing up as a customer of yours, how do they reach you?
So the easiest way is to go to QCashFinancial.com. And if you click contact us, you'll get a marketing form that you fill out. And one of my incredible biz dev folks are going to reach out to you. We'll do a demo. I will forewarn you up front. If I'm going to tell you your members are going to go from link to funds in under 60 seconds, our demo is going to be quick. So buckle up, because it's going to be over before you know it. And one of the unique things too, so Kris, this is funny, it goes back to one of the questions you originally asked. Mm-hmm. When I took over QCash and I sat in our sales presentations, we would book 60 minutes for a sales presentation and a demo. And 80 minutes into it, we'd be like, do you have any questions? And you just saw the life drained out of people's faces. And so we now do a 20 to 30 minute total sales pitch demo and actually leave 30 minutes at the end for a dialogue, because we know it's a unique product. We know it's different, and we know you've got questions. And so I promise you're not going to be bored, but you're going to be enlightened. And again, it's going to be a way for you to really help your membership. So QCashFinancial.com. You can also email info@QCashFinancial.com. Lots of ways to get to us. Or just hit me up on LinkedIn.
The key thing is, don't be late to that demo, right? Because it's going to happen fast.
That's right. And look, at the end of the day, what I tell my team is, if there is still one credit union member using predatory lending, then our job's not done. There's an old saying that says, we may not be able to change the world, but we can change one person's world. And we do that at a scale of 20 to 25,000 people a month. Like, that's what I call leaving a legacy and actually using your life and your skills to make a difference. That's what QCash is about.
Yeah, for sure. There's no better way to end than with that, my friend. I really appreciate, Seth, you coming on the show. Thank you very much. Congratulations on your success. All the credit unions need to reach out to you today and add you to their service offerings. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
What a great conversation with Seth. He is just one of the smartest guys out there, and I really appreciate him taking the time to chat with us today. If you're watching us on a video channel, please be sure to check out our audio podcast as well, because there's some bonus material there from our conversation with Seth. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe on the podcast channel of your choice. Thank you for watching. We will see you next time.